No, that's great. Thanks, Martin. Is that you, Gary, logged on?
It is, yes.
That's okay. It's all right. It's just coming up golden, so I'll just tweak the you name it. It's just got your surname on it. I thought it were. I couldn't remember if anyone else was the same surname.
Cheers. It's an improvement. It did say Louise, but
It did actually. I was like Louise from IT at one point.
Just waiting for the chair to join us.
I'm standing in for the chair.
Oh, right, okay. No problem.
Right, and Gary's here, Damon.
I am here, Damon. I'm just taking the back. You've been under the weather. So Councillor Renwick will step in for me.
Okay.
Okay, right. Well, we'll make a start at 9:03. Welcome, members of the Claycross Town Board. I'll take apologies for absence. I've got apologies from Councillor Kenyon. Sadly, his mother's in hospital. I also had originally apologies from Gary Golden. I know he's also been suffering with this dreadful virus. And as I prepped for this, it just seemed that I should just continue. So, but I'm glad, Gary, you're here anyway. Any other apologies for absence?
Yes, Chair. Apologies received from Professor Warren Manning and Kazi Hussain. Chair, can I also just remind members that this meeting is being streamed live to YouTube. I'm also going to record the meeting for the purpose of a minute, so I'm just going to start that recording now.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and welcome to Peter Dewhurst, who's actually standing in for Warren Manning this morning. Welcome to you. Is anybody else new this morning to the meeting? Is anybody here from Chesterfield College? Okay, right. Well,
yes, sorry, I was on mute there. Sorry, it's David Malone. I'm the Chief Operations Officer and Deputy Principal at Chesterfield College. So I'll be replacing Richard Morecambe, who's left to take over a CEO role, another company, unfortunately. So I'll be replacing on the board. Thank you.
Oh, well, welcome, David, and glad to have you with us. And we can chat maybe later on just to get you up to speed. Anyway, declarations of interest. Any members requested to declare any existence and nature of any disposable pecuniary interests or other interests, and if you are not aware now but this becomes apparent during the meeting, then please let us know. Okay, item 3, minutes of the last meeting. Has anybody had a chance to look at those, and anybody would like to raise any queries or corrections? Unfortunately, I'm not getting very many pictures of people, so I don't know if Damien, you can tell me also if anybody's raised a hand.
I've not got a hand raised at the moment, Chair.
Right, so I take this as a true record, and everybody happy to approve those minutes. If you could all just raise your hand just to let me see that you accept those minutes. Okay, right. Item 4, feedback from submission. Just first like to say that congratulations, we managed to get the submission in time, and we have had a confirmation that's been received. At this point, I would just like to thank Nexus for helping us get through this process, and I'd like to thank Carl Apps from the district and his team who worked right to the deadline to make sure we got our submission in. But I would like to say at this point that was the first part of this process, a long process, and believe you me, the hard work really starts now. We've made huge progress, I think, from the first meetings I attended back in February as a new cabinet member, and we've had lots of discussions, despite the fact COVID maybe hindered some of our progress, but I'm really looking forward to this next stage, and hopefully during this meeting this morning we'll start to discuss about the working groups, additional board members, and thank you to all of those who have already been working on these groups with us in terms of trying to build up the plan behind the scenes, and thank you all for your support and hard work so far. So I think Carl's going to give us some feedback from submissions so far. Carl, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, unfortunately my camera is having issues, so it's a bit of a massive lag between speaking and moving on. So I'm going to keep my camera off to make it easier for me to get some saying. So, yeah, as we submitted our.
It is a bit crackly.
Okay. Okay.
Try again. That was a bit better.
Is that better now? So sorry, as I say, I'm having a few IT issues, so apologies for this. Yeah, the plan has been submitted. We've had some clarification questions asked of the plan already, so we're going to get an answer to respond to that. We've submitted that today, ready for that on Monday. Okay.
Sorry, Carl, we're losing you on there.
I tell you what I'll do is I'll drop it into chat. Mel, if there's anything that you want to raise, 'cause, if you could just tell us a bit about the timetable, and I'll drop a few bits
Yes.
into the chat if that's okay.
Yeah, morning everybody. Yeah, I'm quite happy to do that. Thank you. Yeah, so first I'd just like to say congratulations to you really for getting your tip ready for and submitted by the deadline. I know how much hard work has gone into it so far and your collaboration and commitment. So yeah, it's really, I can really appreciate that. And as Carolyn's just said, there's a lot of hard work to go, but it's a little over. So your tip has been received, has been acknowledged, and it's been triaged to make sure that it doesn't exceed the word count. And we've got all the bits that we were expecting to get and that you said you were submitting, and it's passed that. So it's now moved on to the assessment stage. And as Carl pointed out, I have just asked a few sort of quick clarification questions. They weren't anything major. It's nothing that actually impacts directly on the assessment. It just gives us more information that would be helpful. So the now it's passed through, it started the assessment. The assessment is sort of like several individual assessments are going on by members of the town's hub staff, but also by other government departments and their relevant arm's length bodies. So that's happening now. Once this, the further guidance does describe this as a two-stage process, but actually after our experience with cohort 1, it has become a little bit more integrated. So there's an assessment of your tip and then assessment of all the individual projects. That work is going on, and we sort of hope that that will be completed by mid-November. And then there is sort of like a moderation exercise where an assessment result is agreed between the individual assessors. And then we do a benchmarking exercise where we're just ensuring that our approach to the assessment process has been consistent across all of the tips. And then once that's all been completed, then we put forward recommendations to an internal programme board, which is made up for senior civil servants from MHCLG, but also from those other government departments that have been involved in the assessment process. And then from that programme board, once if they will scrutinise those recommendations, and they will go forward to ministers either as put to the programme board or revised on the basis of their recommendations. And then basically we're just waiting for ministers to give us the go ahead. We anticipate that heads of terms offers will be made sometime in the new year. The further and frequently asked questions did suggest there's like a 2-month time frame for this decision making. But as you will know from cohort 1, it has taken us slightly longer. So you will have no doubt seen on the 27th of October that heads of terms deals offers were made to 7 towns. But obviously you will know from your local knowledge that actually not all announcements have been made, because Newark was one of the cohort 1 towns and an announcement hasn't been made, and there are other towns. So they have been assessed and recommendations have gone forward for ministers. We're just on hold waiting for agreement to announcements being made. So I think, was there any other things that I particularly wanted to say? Yeah, I think in terms of it will happen in terms of your heads of terms offer, I think you're quite likely to receive a sort of global funding offer, which will be based upon the number of your projects. Obviously, it will be based upon our assessment of your tip as to whether it is a tip-top tip. Sorry to have to use that. And then based around the individual projects, whether there are conditions attached to our approval. So your offer will be scaled around that basis. So you will have seen from the announcements the sort of levels of offers that have been made to towns. So I think you just need to sort of be mindful of those amounts, and in terms of how you are sort of going to be prepared for your heads of terms. I recognise that you've put forward a proposal today to bring forward procure some consultants to undertake your business case appraisal. just to be aware that the Town Delivery Partnership are putting together a package of support for business case. Now, they won't actually be completing the business cases for you, but they will be supporting you through the process in the same way as they have done with your town investment plan. So you will be able to place reliance on their support as you go through that process. And they are actually holding a webinar on the 23rd of November to look at business cases. So I think it would be good for you to be engaged in that, even if you're not doing them yourself. It is helping you for how it's been approached from a town's perspective. Oops, sorry. I don't think there was anything else I particularly had to say, but I don't know whether anybody's got any questions about the process. Happy to take questions.
Excellent. I think, thank you, Melanie. That was really, really useful. And Lee Hicken, I can see he's got his hand up. Lee?
Hi, thanks, Chair.
Hi, Lee.
Thanks for that. Sorry if I missed it, but just for clarity, on the global offer that you mentioned, is it likely then or possible that the global offer would come back to identify certain strands, perhaps, which received approval and therefore ring-fenced, if you like, that offer for those individual strands? Or are you saying a global offer will be made and then it's left to the board to choose?
Yeah, I think if there are any projects that we don't consider viable, then obviously we would specifically say that within the heads of terms. But I think it's more likely to be that here's your offer, and then you can determine which projects you intend to take forward or scale back or not to take forward. And obviously your business case development process may impact on that as well. But I think what you will notice from the announcements is ministers will probably want to name check some flagship projects. So, within that announcement. So I think there may be projects that we would be keener on you taking forward, and that will probably become clear in the heads of terms. So if there is, for example, a project that has no conditions attached to it, we would anticipate that would be one that you would take forward. But there is flexibility for you locally to make those decisions.
Thank you, Melanie. Any other questions for Melanie while we've got her? Unfortunately, I'm only seeing about 9 screens, so maybe you have to raise your hand on the actual icon if you want to get our attention. Melanie, just in terms of, I mean, the amounts looked, I mean, I don't know the amounts that everybody put in, but the amounts received and the heads of terms were in sort of like the mid-20s, which presumably is quite good. Was that across the board? Was that quite a high percent, or were people putting in larger ones and not getting anywhere near?
There was only one. Blackpool was the only town that went to a check and challenge session. Sorry, just challenge sessions they're called for this bit part. Sorry, getting confused there. So they were the ones that had submitted the largest town fund ask. But there were other towns that had submitted slightly over 25. But as you can see from the offers that have been made so far, there's only one that's over 25. So it's all again dependent upon the quality of the tip as well as the individual projects. So it's that 2 sort of stage process that will affect the offer that is made.
Well, we were very grateful for the extra support we got from the consultants that helped us and Nexus with the process. So to hear that second stage of support is very welcome news indeed, and thank you. And if you'd like to pass that back, that because we do recognise some areas had probably shovel-ready projects before they started, and I hope that Chesterfield, starting from standing start, that's recognised. We are absolutely a town that deserves to have a good run at this, and we know the challenge ahead, but we've made huge progress, and I expect that to continue.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. Thank you, Melanie. Right. I think Carl's back with us, so update on the accelerator funding process, please, Carl.
Hello. So I'm on my phone now, so sorry if it's a bit wobbly at times. So the accelerator funding, as you're aware from the report, there was an announcement on 30th of June. There was a significant amount of chunk of funding to bring forward capital investment projects part of the building back stronger type work. So Claycross has received £500,000 to fund capital projects that can be delivered in this financial year. And this is to accelerate the work to sort of build up to the town investment plan submission, and then to sort of build on that going forward. So we had to submit it through the Section 151 officer. So for those of you not connected to a council, that's the head of finance really for the council, to say that the monies and it hits the rules around the spending really. So there was a number of projects that were identified that were helped to facilitate the delivery of the town investment plan. So the purchase of the Constabulary building, so that's currently a building that's owned by Derbyshire County Council and used as part of the countryside service. That building is quite a key building really in terms of its location, and it plays a significant part in the town investment plan. It was a temporary solution for Derbyshire County Council about 30 years ago to put the countryside service in there. So they've, as a service, have grown and were ready and willing to move on to additional space. So we're working with them at this point to purchase that building from them. Because of the challenges, we're looking to see if we can procure another building to move them into, because as we all in the same situation, that sort of finances are quite tight. So we want to make sure we can move them into a suitable accommodation, and it doesn't put them under financial strain to do that. So there's £200,000 associated with that. There's a demolition of former council depot on Bridge Street. That's one of the projects that's been identified in the town investment plan. That depot was used previously as units, probably not appropriate really. They didn't all have electricity going to them as a individual supply, so it went to 1 meter and then it was fed out of there, because it was a depot that was split up. So it wasn't really fit for what it was being used for, and the tenants probably were getting by, but it wasn't really, to help those businesses grow, I suppose, by being in that space. And also it ended up being used more for storage, so it wasn't really driving economic growth through that. So that's going to be demolished as part of this, and then that creates a development platform which we can sort of work through the town investment plan. The former junior school is a building, unfortunately, is no longer a building that can be saved. It's obviously a beautiful building, as we all know, but there's significant issues with the structure, and it's now an unsafe structure. There's challenges around that building. So realistically, it's not going to be viable to save that building. So we're going to look to demolish that building. Unfortunately, because of funding timescales and ecology windows and the like, we weren't able to conduct the bat surveys that we needed to within the window, because you have to do it with the sort of breeding time. So that unfortunately was missed. But so what's been agreed is that we can put the funding that's been earmarked for that into an escrow account. So that means it's ring fenced to the demolition of that junior school. So we can conduct the bat surveys when the window opens again in May. And then that's something that we have to do, and then that's a part of the planning, and then we'll be able to remove that building. And then there's another piece which is actually quite exciting, really. So it's a public art programme. So we've got the vents in Claycross that you're all aware of, and there's an opportunity to restore one of the shafts, and then we're looking to project some public art onto that. And then get that sort of developed from the grassroots. So from the Claycross residents, Junction Arts have been procured through our council procurement route for that, and we're looking to get artists to work with the local community to come up with the ideas. I've also asked to look at whether it's something that we can purchase the equipment to do long term, because I think it'd feed really well into our engagement plan long term, that we could potentially project onto the events, any sort of consultation events that we're doing, or we could project the plan as they progress and as they work. and it could be used as a great and innovative way, really, to sort of say to people, yeah, public art, some fantastic public art, but also use it to inform people within the area. So that's the project that we've identified. So currently, as you can see, we've gone over the £500,000, but we're going to refine these costs, and we'll see if these can be engineered down, or if we can secure additional funding to meet them if they aren't able to be value engineered. So that's the report, really. So it's just to make you aware of the accelerated funding, what we're doing with that, and the board will see future updates on the progress of the identified projects.
Excellent, thank you, Carl. Yeah, this is a really welcome £5 million of funding that came our way, and the work behind the scenes to get this this bid in, and just show that we're actually working with our partners. We can do this. So thank you particularly to DCC for working quickly with us to get this over the line. Yeah, I'm really inspired by the art project, and I think it's a really good idea, Carl, that if you can get the equipment to use it as part of the consultation and what's going on, I think it will start to show that we're doing things. I think just doing some of the work in town will show residents that, you know, we've had a consultation, but we are going to make this happen. So on the whole, it's been a very positive exercise. Any questions to Carl regarding the Accelerator Fund or any of these projects? Okay, unless anybody else can see anybody, I can't see anybody with a hand raised. So working groups, item 6.
Sorry, Carolyn, Andrew King's.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can indeed.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I just wondered that this is accelerator funding, so I imagine that this isn't a just one project. It is sort of focused on 4 separate projects, because the old council depot is, of course, some distance from the town centre, being on Bridge Street opposite the out of town store. So it's not really let's just get rid of that. It's not really what I would call town centre, but I appreciate, you know, the junior school, the public art programme, which is going to centre around one of the railway line shafts, and of course the constabulary building. But presumably everybody's happy with that. We're not straying outside the confines or whatever the conditions are for that accelerator funding. It was just really to confirm that point.
Yeah, no, it's the letter has been submitted to Town Hub, and they've come back and agreed with it. And if you remember, going back to the town investment plan map for Claycross, it's wider than just the town centre. So yeah, they're happy that it meets the criteria that they set out.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. Thanks for that, Carl.
Lee Hickey, I can see you got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. One for Carl. Carl, apologies, I can't get the report up on screen, so forgive me if it's in there. But on the projection on the shafts, I understand it's going to be some visual digital art that's projected on, and you mentioned the potential of keeping the kit to do different things in future. Has it got the capability to provide messaging, for instance? You know, so any sort of theme, whether we're doing a campaign around climate change, whether we're doing, you know, that sort of thing, real life, real time kind of interchangeable messaging, as well as visual digital art.
Yeah, the kit hasn't actually been procured yet, so Junction Arts are doing that as we speak. So it's going to be light projection onto the shaft. So I suppose just a case of making sure you can update it and then projecting it on the image onto the screen. So we've been quite sort of open to say we would like to use it for stakeholder engagement has been part of that, but there's no reason why it couldn't be used wider. And I suppose there's a potential that if it's in a position that it could be potentially moved, then we could relocate it to other places for other messages. But it depends on the kit, the cost, and whether we're able to do that. It may be that it's a short-term project, or it could be that it's something that we look at to do for the long term. Because you're right, it could fit in really well with, say, Charlie Park comes forward and we're doing a campaign around childhood obesity or something like that. Then absolutely, it could be flicked to have that message on it, as well as the town deal work as well.
Councillor Barker.
Cal, are you aware, you know, the Countryside Rangers service, when we another hat on, I've got that there's been talk about moving them to Arkwright, working with the Woodland project that's based at Bolsover. And I know they've been told to one. I just wonder if you're aware of that. So we're not going off on tangents. If they can work together and move to where Arkwright Pit used to be, that'd be a win-win, I think.
Yeah, we've met with the Countryside Service 3 or 4 times now, and with the Estates Department at the County Council. So all these sort of conversations have been had. We're just trying to say, where are you? Because what they also want to do is use this as an opportunity to consolidate their services, which actually makes sense, because they have to travel an hour to pick up a piece of kit, travel an hour back. So what they want to do is try and consolidate it all in this next unit. So that's kind of what we're trying to help facilitate, or to help them make some benefit from it as well.
Cheers, Belle. Thanks.
Any more questions? Okay, well, thanks for that. And if anybody knows Banksy, where he is, we'll send him to Claycross. Get us a bit more publicity. Right, item 6, working groups. Hopefully you've seen, you've all read the report on working groups. The working groups is going to become more and more important now. I know that some of these groups have been established for some time, but you know, the detail work going to start now in terms of developing the business case and the plans. So this is, like I said, this is where the real work starts. So this is our last chance really to make sure we're happy with the structure of the groups, with the membership of the groups, and offering or putting forward people or organisations that we haven't thought of who should be on there. Carl, have you got any more update on the paper that you've presented in terms of the membership?
So yeah, the groups have got, because we were asked at the last meeting to bring back who would be within the group. So I've tried to demonstrate organisations rather than people, because I'm conscious that people can change in an organisation, and they might want to send somebody different because they're more appropriate for particular groups or whatever piece of work. So it's just really, is the board happy with the suggested representation on the groups, and have I missed anybody? If there's anybody that they feel that I've missed, then please let me know and we'll make sure that they're included. Some of the groups are meeting already, and some need to sort of start meeting again, I suppose, because some of the work paused while we're doing the investment plan. And then the youth board, we've had a discussion with the school as well and the college, and looking to see how we can sort of progress that. And one of the team is going to look at that. So that'll be looking sort of January time, because it's quite difficult at the minute with schools through the pandemic. So yeah, if there's anybody that I've missed, then please I've seen there's a couple of things, sorry, because I'm having to do this from my phone, it's quite awkward. So if there's anything in the chat, I'll capture that afterwards. But if there's anything, so I saw something pop up about Shire Park, I'll change the name of that group if that's incorrect. And Peter, saw you. Well.
I'm interested to know if Lee Hicking can actually help double hat some of these in terms of skills, Charlie Park and the youth. So maybe you're targeting through the Charlie Park activities, football or whatever activities go on with young kids, swimming, whatever. Just see if you can speak to kids in Charlie Park that will be part of the youth board, but also give an input on the leisure facilities locally. And I also would like to reach out a bit more to, I've already spoken to the Chamber of Commerce, but the FSB and other business support organisations, just for, active people who are active in the community and the business community. I know we've got a number of businesses that we're going to target, we're speaking to every business in Claycross in terms of their, far more engagement, and we're doing that as a council anyway. But just finding people who can actually input into the business side would be quite useful. Anybody else got any other recommendations or anything they want to say on the actual working groups? Because, like I said, this is really important now. Our business will develop as good as the people on these boards representing the community. Lee Hicking?
Yeah, I'll just respond, Chair, if I could, to your request earlier about the youth shadow town board. So when we started the work around the health and wellbeing hub a while ago, we did actually establish a group of youth and younger people to help inform that decision. I think just because of the emergence of the Towns Fund and putting that project on ice to align the two projects together, I think that fell away a bit, but we can certainly pick that back up and possibly work with other members in the community, some that spring immediately to mind, and turn that into the shadow town youth board, as opposed to just having a focus on what was then Leisure Centre project. Okay,
that's really good, because actually I think particularly kids, I know there's been challenges in terms of COVID and reaching out, but if you can somehow reach kids and the youth through social media, and I'm sure the colleges can help us on that one, it would be really useful. And I think it's this we're trying to do a bid now for the future. It's these kids who hopefully live in there and what it's shaping their future. So that'd be really good to redouble our efforts in terms of reaching out to young people. And there's a few messages coming up. I hope you're all seeing those. Yeah, thank you, David Malone. We'll be grateful for your support on that. Thank you. Any other questions on working groups? Obviously, if you've got any ideas or people in mind or organisations, then let Carl Apps know, and we'll reach out to people. I'm sure we'll find people along the way as well. Okay, additional board members, item number 7. Again, I think you've seen the report that's been presented. So again, we've been quite a tight group so far. I know we've sadly lost one of our business members, obviously difficult times at the moment. So we do need to, we are looking actually to increase our board structure. Carl, would you like to give us an update on where you are?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So as you are aware, the town investment plan, the idea was always it was a public and private partnership. And unfortunately, some of the private representation isn't as strong as it could be. Obviously, we lost a member, as Chair's mentioned. So it's just around how can we sort of rebalance that, really, and sort of proposing that we try and get some additional board members who sort of ideally would fit in terms of their skills and the strategic fit with what the board is trying to do and the long-term plans. So the proposal is that we would advertise to the businesses within Claycross and the surrounding areas, because obviously the businesses in the surrounding areas are likely to be employing people from Claycross and probably have a vested interest in the investment that goes into there. And then we would do a sort of sifting exercise if possible or if needed, and then there would be, although I've called it an interview, I think it would be more of a chat really between the chair, vice chair and another board member, just to sort of make sure that these people, whoever they may be, will bring the right skills, bring passion, and understand that it's a bit more than just attending a board meeting, but also there's working groups to be involved in. There's an opportunity to shape the work that's being done, and it's a requirement of a certain amount of time. So it's just making sure that they sort of understand that. And then those people would then be invited to join a board, assuming that the board is happy with recommendations for the people. So yeah, that's really kind of, it's quite obvious that we need private sector involvement in the boards. That's kind of always been from day one what we wanted to achieve, and we could do with rebalancing the board a bit more to have a greater amount of private sector involvement, I think. So it's great, obviously, that Gary's the chair and coming from the private sector, so that's good that he's sort of leading on this. But if we could have some more support, I suppose that'd be excellent. So it's just, are you happy with that proposal, that suggestion? And then is there a volunteer who would like to join although there's an interview panel, it's more of a sort of making sure the right fit, really.
Tom?
Hi, sorry. So I was just going to say, if you need any help from a growth perspective, and if we've got any intelligence at the left that may help us identify some board members as well from the private sector, then we're more than happy to do so. Yeah, from that point of view, I'm happy to help out where possible on the panel if you need us to.
Yeah, Tom, really helpful. Sorry, Chair, but it's just obviously you go through this process as well with your own private public board. So any experience you can bring would be helpful. Sorry, Chair.
Yeah, and just to, I was just going to ask either you or Jill in terms of the what time we can put in ourselves in terms of going through our own databases and doing some work from the district in terms of reaching out to businesses that we know about. I mean, personally, I'd like to try and get some kind of a publication out to all businesses. And I know we used to do a business newsletter, which I don't know if that's happening, if that can be resurrected either in print format or digitally. Again, working with the chambers and enterprise agencies or FSB, added with D2N2, I think it'd be nice to get as much publicity about this as possible.
What we would do, Chair, if you wish, is we can pull together a press release and then do a mail merge, really, and send it out to some of the key sort of the top businesses within the area in terms of size, but then also the local businesses within Clay Cross, and send that out to them to sort of say, make them aware of the opportunity to join the board, but also putting that some of the expectations around that, you know, there is an investment in time, and we come along and sort of help shape that. So if you're happy with that, myself and the team can go away, pull that together, and if we sign it off for yourself and the chair and vice chair, then we can get that sent out if that's appropriate.
Yeah, I think I'm keen to get as many people to apply. I mean, I know that there's only a couple of places perhaps for a board member, but I genuinely think if we're making contact with businesses locally through any of our recommendations, or I just think perhaps they could also become a focus group. So you know, you're right. The paper's clear that we want someone committed on this board who's going to put the work in. But there's lots of people who would be the sounding board for the ideas. So if we are going to trouble people to be part of this, I just wonder whether we can make the additional people that might have applied who've not been successful on the board will become a focus group just to help.
Yeah, and I think that's important because they're obviously interested, want to help. So if we can use them to help shape the work as well, but maybe in a less formalised way as sitting on the board, but maybe as a business group that supports us.
Okay, and yes, Danny Gates, we're already working with her, so I know she knows of local businesses very well, so she'd be somebody good to tap up in terms of people who will be suitable. So any more questions? Else, in the meantime, if anybody's got anybody who they think would be suitable for the board, or maybe more loosely involved with some kind of focus group, then please again send to me or Carl. So at this point, then can I move recommendations 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3 on this paper? And the board notes this content of the report and delegates drafting the tender spec to Carl and his team, me as vice chair and the chair, and that the board endorses the process for selecting the suitable qualified consultants to develop, to do that.
Chair, I think that's for the
next. No, it's the next one. Report. Sorry, no, moving the wrong one. So sorry. Okay, recommendations that. Yeah, but. No, the recommendations that you're happy with the process of actually finding new members for this board. Everybody happy with that? Unfortunately, I can only see still only see 9. Gary, sorry, I can see you now, and yeah, and Gary first, and Andrew King, and then Councillor Dale.
Yeah, Carolyn, they're all approving it, so you've got about 6 people, I would say.
Excellent.
They've turned the cameras on.
Right, that's approved. Thank you. Need a bigger screen. Okay then. Item 8, press release. I don't know if that's been circulated. If not, is that able to be put up on the screen?
Yeah, I think it's been in the supplementary papers. I think it was in
It's
there.
in the supplementary papers, but I can upload it onto the screen, Chair, if you wish.
Yes, please.
Okay, just bear with me. Right, can you see that okay? Just enlarge it. Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yes, yeah, I can see that. And I mean, I've seen it, just wanted to make sure everybody was happy with it. This is your last chance before it goes to goes out to print.
That's pretty much the full body of the text there.
Gary, are you happy with I think you've signed it off as already, haven't you?
That's right, I have, yes.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that. So if there's no objections, or there's no one spotted any spelling mistakes, then I'm happy to get that approved. Okay, right, and the final item. So next steps. So if you've all seen the report, pages 16 to 18. Has everybody had the opportunity to read this report? So this is the next steps in terms of the Claycross town deal. The recommendations at the end that we'd need to agree to and sign off. I was going to ask Carl to give an update on the next steps. I think Melanie actually did give us quite a comprehensive overview, and I know that there's not the exact timetable. Carl, anything you want to add to this report?
No, it's just notwithstanding what Mel said. Yeah, it's great that the Towns Hub is there to support us. But I think if we have that resource to work as Nexus did alongside the Town Hub, it should be quite hopefully quite a smoother process, and we should then be able to sort of pull up the business case. Appreciate some of this stuff. The reason we're trying to do this now and before we've agreed the heads of terms is that we don't want to go into a procurement process once that heads of terms has been agreed, because that window then obviously shrinks at the time we can work on the business case. And we have kept some money aside, knowing that we would need to procure somebody to do the business case element, so that the money's there. So that is the bonus, and we can make sure that they're appointed as the heads of terms sort of come into place, so we can get them lined up ready, and then on the proviso that we get a town investment plan.
Okay. So I mean, I personally think it's it was critical to have had the consultants at the stage. I know we did get some directly from the actual department in terms of putting this bid in. I think we had £140,000 budget. I think 59-ish is spent. So I think, am I right? It's about 79,000 left.
Yeah, 79, 78, something along them lines. Yeah.
Okay, and so this will be a very different kind of spec to the last one, because this is actually the business planning. This is the presumably architecture and what else are you looking at, Carl? What kind of companies are we expecting to actually put the tender out to?
Well, we're moving this now from the ideas phase to work that up from a good idea into a business case. So how do we sort of actually do that and sort of understand where the funding and the rest has come from? So yeah, that's kind of the next phase really, is turn it into something that we can then submit to Mel and her team and whoever else, and they can understand how the nuts and bolts of it work and can it actually be delivered. So this is what the next phase is talking about, is that moving from a good idea to delivery phase, I suppose.
And are we happy that we've got a list of potential people to approach, or where does this get circulated in terms of picking up the right people?
It will do it for our normal procurement portal tenders. So there's Source Derbyshire, for instance, and we can alert suitably qualified consultants on this, just to make them aware of the opportunity. But as at the minute, I mean, we had 25 people, or 25 businesses try and procure us for the town investment plan. So with 25 submissions, and then I've had about 5 or 6 freedom of information requests in the last couple of months around the town investment plan and how can they be involved. So I think there's quite a lot of interest out there in terms of being involved in town investment plans. Town deals obviously are well populated and well publicised, and there's a lot of consultants out there who know about them. So we can get it out into the networks to say, there's an opportunity here, and make them aware of it, certainly.
Well, that's heartening to hear that we've got people touting for business already. I was going to say, I mean, you mentioned the Derbyshire, but is that just, do we get a lot of national exposure through that website, or is it a Towns Deal hub online that can actually cast our net a bit further?
Well, that Source Derbyshire, it does get picked up nationally, so it does go nationally. So I mean, we had people applying from when we procured Nexus. We had businesses from London. We had some of the real national consultancies, international ones applying. So the message does get out there, and it is widely circulated. So don't just think because it's Source Derbyshire, it means only Derbyshire businesses, and we're missing out on opportunities. Wider consultancies will pick that up.
Excellent. I've noticed Jill had a hand up. Jill?
Yeah, sorry, I was just sort of going to what the thing we are trying to do now is move concepts into something much more deliverable, and it's to prove to government we're ready to go with this. We're doing it from standing start in some ways, but we've moved a long way in quite a short time, and that we are committed to what we're doing. So by starting to procure people before we've got the heads of terms in, is a real, what we're trying to show is this board is really behind it, really wants to move things forward. And I wouldn't worry about getting somebody in to do this work. We're going to need several different types of consultants to do this work because the projects are quite wide spanning. And I think we'll have people queuing up to do them because they're actually really quite interesting pieces of work for consultants. That's all I've got to say on that.
No, I think that sums it up very nicely, and I agree. And I'm certainly keen to get going now because like I say, I recognise looking at some of the other bids that have gone in that some areas have clearly had these all ready to go as it was. So this shouldn't preclude us. We are exactly the type of town that should be supported. But it would be good to now try and see a bit more of the detail. I know Melanie actually mentioned that we'll get some ongoing support. So I just wondered if, Melanie, you've got anything to add to that before we start putting specs out, that we're not duplicating something that you might be delivering as well.
No, I don't think, because sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's good. No, the Town Delivery Partnership, they won't actually be able to produce their business cases for you. It's a bit like they couldn't produce your tip for you, but they can advise you and support you through the process and help you sort of guide it from a town's fund perspective. We will be issuing some additional guidance around our expectations around business cases for the Towns Fund. So they will be working to that guidance and to be able to support you. So it's sort of like an add-on. So like I say, much in the same way as they've been working with your town investment plan. So I think you'll find it really helpful, because I do think they've been very helpful with the delivery, the putting together your town investment plan. So I think you will find it will be a similarly helpful and helpful support. But it may be different. I mean, Jade will, who is, it's not, Jenny is your town delivery partner coordinator, isn't she? Jenny Adams.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it probably, I don't know whether Jenny will be coordinating, or whether it will, whether there will be other people involved. But obviously, it's people with different specialities who will be supporting you through the process. So you might start meeting new people, but they're all geared up to providing it.
Thank you for that update, Melanie. That's reassuring. Lee Hickin, I've still got your hand up.
Yeah, just to jump in, I'm picking up on a point that Jill was making there. In some of the elements of the town investment plan are further along than others. So the Health and Wellbeing Hub at Charlotte Park, for instance, we've been working with a number of bodies, including Sport England, Andy James, who's on screen. And I certainly don't want to put him on the spot, but we just have to be careful that we knit the support that we need together with the support we've already got. So in that aspect, I know we're looking to access a range of expertise and specialisms through Sport England already. I don't know if Andy, you want to not necessarily confirm that, but if you want to add anything at that point about consultancy, etc., that we're accessing already.
I think the only consultancy you really need now, Lee, is finalising the SOPG, ground plans, and then getting a professional team on board to actually start to firm up some of the plans and things.
No, I have to say yes. I'm aware the leisure is working up nicely already. I know a lot of work's already going into that. And again, we've had a lot of conversation with DCC and the college as well, some of the other sites. But it's really going to ramp up now. So I have no hesitation in asking you to support the recommendations of this report, and that we move to a draft tender spec. And it looks like the director of NEDCC for development, the chair and vice chair, to help with this process, and that the board endorses the process of selecting and appointing suitably qualified consultants to develop the full business cases, and be assured that looks like we've got the support in terms of finding the right people to do this. So have I got a seconder for that proposal? I can't see anybody, I'm sorry. Can someone shout?
You've got Councillor Bark and and Andrew King are both seconding.
Right, excellent. And a show of hands for just to put that through. Which I can't see anybody's hands, but maybe shout if you don't approve. Okay.
You've got about 7, 8 of those that are showing.
Taking it's done then. Thank you very much. I think that's I've got back to my agenda. Okay, well, that's the last item on the agenda this morning. Thanks ever so much. I know we've had a long process to get to stage 1, and hopefully by the next meeting we'll be well on our way in terms of the deciding on these consultants for the next stage and the business planning and getting these working groups set up. So thank you for your continued support, and I look forward to working with you all to get to the second stage. Thank you very much.